Hey y'all, welcome back to Poplar Creek Farm. I'm out in the garden tonight doing what is likely my last harvest of tomatoes for the 2023 season, which is a little bittersweet, but at the same time I'm pretty ready for the garden to be just about done. That was kind of yucky. So I'm okay this being my last harvest. I'm actually gonna pick a bunch of green ones too, and those are mostly gonna go to the pigs, because unless I leave these for another couple days and they start to ripen, whatever's left, most of them, these are gonna get pulled out. The plants are gonna get pulled out probably Monday at the latest. So I'm ready to wrap up the garden season and start resetting everything and getting everything ready for next year. I'm at that point. I have had a wonderful, wonderful tomato year, so no complaints from me. I've had probably the best harvests I've had of tomatoes in the last few years. I've had really good harvests before, but this year was just exceptional. And maybe it's partly because this was the only thing that did really well, so it seemed really, really good. And I also I actually had the time to also preserve food, which normally I just have time to harvest for markets and things, and I don't actually preserve, where this year I actually got to preserve. But join me as I pick the last of the red tomatoes for this year. Well, for a last tomato harvest of the year, I'm pretty happy. This is the pig one. These are all ones for us. I underestimated how many buckets I needed, which I'm not complaining about. There are still a few red ones throughout, but they're all ones that have like yucky spots or, bitten or whatnot. So next, these are all gonna come out. All the cages will come out. And I got to get this up too, because now we're not doing the rows this way. We're going to change them to this way. I'll pull this up and just roll it up. I actually don't even know if I ever cut it, which would be really cool if I didn't. I know I cut. I didn't. Oh, sweet. So it doesn't really matter if it's the right length. I will just roll it back up with that. Yay. My garden has not been like weed whacked or mowed in quite a while, obviously. I mean, the grasses are pretty long, but look at these raspberry plants. Look at these things. That's insane. That's huge. It's beautiful. And they send off shoots, so they will just keep expanding over here. And this is kind of just the raspberry area. There's a couple up here too. Most of these, I had ordered some from Stark Bros, but they mostly died. These are mostly ones from my neighbor. I forget exactly how many raspberry plants they started with, like 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, something like that. But they tore up, transplanted, gave away hundreds, because they just keep growing and expanding, which like to an extent can be annoying, especially with the gardening right here. But I'm allowing this whole section over here to just become raspberries. As much as like we can manage them, we will, but I also don't want to like stop them from expanding and growing. And I would love raspberries. We love raspberries, and they're expensive in the grocery store, so I'd rather not have to buy them. You can't even see it, but this is my strawberry bed over here. It is full of this really spiky weed. I forget what it's called right now off the top of my head, but it's horrible, and the roots are like impossible to get rid of. There's like a wooden bed here. I was gonna plant my garlic in there this year with the strawberries, because I don't really have another place to put them right now. but I don't think that's going to happen with the way this bed is unless I really take it down. So we'll see. That is probably just going to get completely reset eventually. One of these years I am going to order strawberry plugs in the fall and plant a whole bunch of June bearing strawberry plugs, because those, if you mulch them really heavily over winter, they will overwinter, and by spring you'll actually get a harvest your first year. And that's really what I want, is a decent amount of June bearing strawberry plants to be able to have enough to make jam and stuff. That's the big thing with strawberries, is they're expensive to go buy. Like even at a U-pick, they're expensive. So I'd like to be able to get them growing here enough that I can actually harvest enough to make jam. But that's going to take quite a few plants, like probably a couple hundred plants, to really get enough at one time to be able to process. This last harvest of tomatoes for the year is definitely a little bittersweet. It's, you know, a season coming to an end, but that's okay. It's been a good year. As much as this garden has stressed me out and been difficult and hard to manage and keep up with, extremely weedy and not super productive for most things, tomatoes produced this year really well, and I'm really happy with them. It kind of made all the other hard stuff not as big of a deal. So I'm happy, and I'm happy you guys were able to join me on this last harvest. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Remember, we're growing today for a better tomorrow. Please like and subscribe and join me on the next one.